kwa sababu vijana wetu hawana kazi. Kila siku serikali inasema inatafutia vijana kazi, lakini zile kazi ziko available, watu wa kutoka nje wanachukua.
Sisi tufanye biashara hapa na wao watuuzia mali, tukienda huko watugoja huko kwao. Na wamechukua, sijui wametumia nguvu gani, wako na uwezo wa kupaka kuweka watu ndani. Sisi hatutakubali. Tutakubali wana biashara.
We are not issuing work permits to traders because we don't do that as government. We don't have a classification of work permits called traders. And any people who are in markets and so on, who are trying to trade, those are illegal immigrants. They are here illegally. And our security team understands that. We will deport them. The 6 in Nairobi, there were 6. Wale 6 walikuwa Nairobi. Walionekana kwa market huko. Wao by tomorrow watakuwa wanakula sapa kwao because tutawarudisha kwao. Because we don't issue work permits to traders. That is the truth.
Okay, so in a nutshell, let me just tell you what the Starehe Member of Parliament said. Most of you know him as Jaguar. I'll try and summarize what he said. So he said the issue that they have is not about the 6 Chinese who were deported by the government of Kenya. As a matter of fact, he gave the Kenyan government 24 hours to send foreigners back to their respective homes. He mentioned foreigners from 4 specific countries. He said, and I quote, that they will go to their businesses and remove them. Akasema tutawapiga na tuwapeleke airport. He said outside businessmen are harassing Kenyan businessmen and they are spoiling their business in the Republic of Kenya. And he said that Kenyans should not be put in a scenario where they have to compete with outsiders. Those sentiments by Starehe Member of Parliament Charles Njagua have put him in a lot of trouble with lots of people who are saying, I mean, this is how xenophobic attacks began in South Africa. As a matter of fact, for those of you who may not recall, the attacks in South Africa, the xenophobic attacks were witnessed in 2015. At that point, there was an upsurge in xenophobic attacks throughout the country. The attacks were started in Durban and spread to Johannesburg. So this is how those attacks began. The Zulu king, that is Goodwill Zwelithini, was accused of fueling the attacks by saying that foreigners should go back to their countries. It's not far from what the Starehe Member of Parliament Charles Njagua had to say. And this is a concern as well because in March 2018, President Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya, signed agreements, namely the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area, the protocol to the treaty establishing the African Economic Community relating to free movement of persons, right of residence and right of establishment. In 2017 November, Uhuru Kenyatta announced that any African wishing to visit Kenya will be eligible to receive a visa on arrival. He added that citizens of countries within the East African community will be treated like Kenyans when they visit the country. He further went on to say this means they will only need identity cards to live, work and marry in Kenya, a directive that will also have no conditions. That is why the sentiments of Starehe Member of Parliament Charles Njagua has caused quite a storm after calling for the immediate deportation of foreigners operating in Nairobi city markets. That is our big story this evening as we seek to see the ramifications of this. What are the intended consequences, unintended consequences as well? He did mention individuals from 4 different countries. It's a conversation that we are having with Japheth Ogutu, who's the Executive Director, Consumer Downtown. We also have Professor Gitile Naituli, who's an ex-commissioner at the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the big story this evening. Professor, let me begin with you. The sentiments of Charles Njagua regarding foreigners from some countries. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thought is those statements are misplaced. You don't make strong statement like that. What you do is you consult in government systems because any country that has developed has been able to fill skill gaps with the foreigners. So foreigners are an essential part of our development process. And we need to appreciate that. So you can't make a blanket condemnation of people who will continue having. There is Kenyans also in other countries. So that's a reckless statement from Alinda because we need harmony. But having said that, I also think there is a lapse in the government system where you can catch people selling wares in the market. How did they even enter the country? Because people are supposed to come here on identified knowledge gap that the government has decided to fill. So there is visas to address that. So the fact that you can walk in a marketplace and find somebody hawking, it shows that there is a problem with the way we are managing the immigration system. Now the Linda, that is the MP, ought to address that, but not to incite us against foreigners, because we need foreigners. They are in Kenya, they are subject to the Kenyan law. We need to work harmoniously with them, and we need them.
But then, Prof, the assumption is that when you have individuals coming into Kenya and they're doing specific kind of jobs, then those are people who have come in legitimately, and these are individuals who have permits to do the kind of work they're doing. So even if we are pointing a finger at immigration, these are people who may be legally in Kenya.
I'm saying that the statement by Njagua is reckless, because once the people have entered this country, we need to respect them. We need to treat them the way we are treating any other Kenyan, unless, of course, they have violated our laws. So Alinda cannot afford to issue that kind of a statement, because that's an inciting statement against a significant section of people already within our country and subject to our laws, and people working for us, basically. So we need to appreciate that. Now, what I said is, if the MP for Starehe, Njagua, has an issue, he ought to look at the system that allows those he does not need in Kenya to enter the country. But he should not address us on that matter. We don't need to know what the government is doing to protect our jobs, to protect our industries, and to protect us, because we know that the government allows people into this country to fill specific skill gaps. We appreciate that, and we want that. So the leaders need to be very careful with the statement that they put out.
Japheth Gutu, you're the Executive Director, Consumer Downtown. One of the reasons that Jaguar gave is that we have foreigners who are now taking over businesses of Kenyans, and they're now, quote-unquote, competing with Kenyan businessmen.
Well, Linda, thank you very much. I think first to comment about the issue of Jaguar. First, the statement is very unfortunate and very pedestrian. Actually, it's a populist statement that maybe was meant to please people who are surrounding him at that time. But it's very unfortunate, because such statements have been seen even in South Africa, that triggered a serious war that actually led to death of several foreigners, including some Kenyans. And so it's not actually fair to issue such statement in public without proper knowledge. I would actually advise that Jaguar, as a member of parliament, has every avenue actually to present issues, if he has an issue with foreigners, through a legal process, because he should not cry foul like an ordinary Kenyan. He has a platform in parliament to address such issues through a legal process. He can bring a law that seeks to address the gaps that are already existing, and we are all aware that the number of gaps that are already existing to allow foreigners in the country. But again, he also appeared to be contradicting his boss, who is the president, for the statements that have been issued before. Regarding the accommodation of foreigners in the country. And again, we also need one another. Kenya is not isolated from other countries. And so we are a developing country that encourages growth through investment, and again encourages investment with other players, other sectors who are already in the country, and even some that are coming. And so it will be very unfortunate. We will not actually support such statement. But again, I want to answer you directly on the question of Chinese competing Kenyans in the informal market. This is something that is has been reported in many markets in the country, and so a lot of Kenyans are already crying foul, because they cannot find a better way of engaging and even promoting the local industry through, as we continue to allow these guys to keep on competing with them fairly. You see, the law requires in the Investment Promotion Act 2004 that foreigners, foreign investors who come into this country should ensure they promote issues to do with employment of Kenyans. They should promote skills and impart technology advancement in the country. And this is not happening. When you see our friends from Chinese employing Kenyans on those they consider as very small jobs, then it becomes very unfortunate. It defeats the fact that the law requires them to create job opportunities for Kenyans. And again, when you look at the kind of investment they're trying to put into this, compared to what Kenyans can afford, is very unfortunate, and it's very small.
So this is where we get to hear his sentiments as well on what exactly he meant with that statement. Let's bring in our associate lead reporter, Duncan Haemba, who's speaking to Charles Njagua Kanyi, who's the member of parliament, Starehe constituency, to whom those sentiments are attributed. Haemba.
Good evening, Linda. We are coming to you from Starehe constituency, one of the 17 constituencies in Nairobi County. And of course, the reason why we are here, we want to engage the leader from that particular constituency, Member of Parliament, Charles Kanyi, popularly known as Jaguar. He'll just be telling us what made him do what he had to do. Of course, they say that there come a time when a man has got to do what a man got to do. But many have given varied reaction based on the action that he took. We'll just be picking his mind to know Mheshimiwa Charles Kanyi Jaguar.
Thank you, Patrick.
Could you just tell us what exactly made you take the action that you did? Of course, some are saying that maybe the action you took is similar to what happens elsewhere, that the locals might start targeting individuals who are not the origin, they don't belong to this country.
Patrick, whatever happened yesterday was promoted by frustrations from the people who elected me. Just 2 weeks ago, you remember, there was the issue of containers that were being held at the port, and my people, as you all know, that Starehe constituency consists like the whole Nairobi CBD is in Starehe constituency, and 90% of my constituents do small businesses, and as you can remember, their goods were being held at the port, and they had stayed without doing businesses. We had to call on the president so that he can intervene and have their goods released at the port. Just after the intervention of the president, the issue comes another issue of the Chinese, and you know that just before the containers were released, there were allegations that there was a cartel that was blocking locals from getting their goods from the port, and the Chinese had their way of having their goods released faster than the Kenyan goods. That's what prompted whatever happened yesterday. Yes.
And if you could just tell us, there are those who are saying that whatever you did might amount to incitement. Maybe exactly, and you, of course, earlier on before we went live, you said that this is not the first time, or rather you're not the first person to point out the question of people who are angered by the high number of the Chinese who are in this country and doing the business that otherwise would be done by the locals.
You see, as a member of parliament, I know people are saying that I was supposed to go through parliament to address the issues of my constituents. But if you can remember, like 2-3 months, we summoned the CS concerning the same issue, CS Matiang'i, but the PS is the one who came to answer the question we asked. And my worry is that whenever we summon them to come answer questions like where are we having Chinese doing businesses in Nairobi, they usually come with files and tell us that this is we have the files here, we have the number of the Chinese foreigners we have deported, and we don't see that coming back to the ground. Because even you remember 2 weeks ago again, the CS himself, Matiang'i, came out strongly saying that they are going to deal with the Chinese, the foreigners doing business here, and he said that they have the government have deported 6 Chinese. But 2 days after he said about the deportation, a Chinese national accused 2 of his employees of stealing from his shop, and my worry was that I had to rush to Kamukunji police station and see why was the Chinese, if the Chinese was among the 6 that were deported by Matiang'i, by the CS Matiang'i, and after seeking audience with the DCI, you could see that the DCI didn't want to arrest the Chinese, to summon the CS so that to summon the Chinese so that we can look at his documents and see if he is valid and how he was able to get the documents of the to do the business that he was doing at Kamkunji market. Yes.
Now, looking at it, of course, CS Matiang'i is also on record. Some time back, he also complained. Of course, he was irritated when he found that there were foreigners who are doing the job, which could be done by locals. Of course, we've seen members of parliament from Central Region also complaining that businesses that they were relying on, the small, medium enterprises that have been taken over by the foreigners. How big is this problem?
The sad part is that you find that the Chinese, the Kenyan traders from, let's say, Nairobi, go to China to buy goods from Chinese. And what the Chinese are doing, they are looking at whatever Kenyans are buying from them. And once the Kenyans buy from them, they follow them to Kenya, where they open godowns situated they usually get godowns where they stock the same products that Kenyans are going to China to get. And now you find that they have been able to open shops even in small markets like Kamukunji. So you find that even if a Kenyan goes to China to buy goods, there is no way he's going to match or compete with the Chinese. Yes.
And then you gave a 24-hour ultimatum that if 24 hours lapse and no action has been taken, you will be doing what you said you will do. But the 24 hours have elapsed. Maybe why did you not actually make good of the threat you made?
Patrick.
My name is Duncan Haemba. Patrick is the governor. That is the problem of having a governor and a journalist. Of course, the governor for Trans Nzoia is Patrick Haemba, and my name is Duncan Haemba. So you had given a 24-hour ultimatum, which actually has lapsed. Why have you not made good of your threat, or why has there been a change of plan?
We haven't changed, because I do believe that my people are still suffering from whatever I do believe that my people are still suffering, because I don't believe that my statement made the Chinese leave wherever they were doing. What we have done is that we had a meeting with the regional commissioner, and we have agreed that tomorrow we get the traders from those areas, because they are the ones with the information of what the Chinese do, we have agreed with the regional commissioner that tomorrow we need to have a meeting with the traders, because they're the ones with the information of where the shops are located, where the Chinese are doing businesses, because there's no way you can tell me to bring them to or have them arrested. So I do believe that after that, because I do believe the traders have the information, because they're the ones who are telling us the Chinese don't usually stay in those markets. They usually open early in the morning and come to collect whatever have been sold in the evening. So I do believe once we sit down with the regional commissioner and the traders themselves, we'll be able to make sure that the Chinese are flushed out of those markets. And
Mheshimiwa, you are a member of parliament. Of course, whatever you had to do to intervene to go to Kamkunji, maybe it could have been one way, but maybe somebody will argue, being a lawmaker, you have another avenue at parliament, because has it come to a point where you feel there is need to have proper legislation that has to be put in place to protect those people who don't have employment, white collar jobs, being employed by government or proper employment, then they are setting up their businesses? Or what do you think? Because you also have an avenue as a member of parliament.
I can tell you for sure, because I can tell you, Duncan, we have tried even in parliament, and if you ask me, you remember like 4 months, we had also summoned CS Munya about the issue of car importation, banning of spare parts from coming from outside. We had also summoned him about the issue of containers being held at the port. And sometimes when you summon them, they come there with a lot of English and a lot of information, what they have done, what they can do. And was it not for the intervention of the president, those traders wouldn't have gotten their containers. So I think it comes out more when people speak, because yesterday at Kamukunji, the people of Kamukunji spoke, and I do believe even the government will take action so that we can avoid such instances happening again.
Associate lead reporter Duncan Haimba there speaking to Charles Njagua Kanji, Member of Parliament Starehe. His sentiments have elicited quite an uproar on social media. As a matter of fact, there are intended, unintended consequences. One of them is happening in Tanzania. And I want to bring in our reporter from Tanzania, Rahab Hassan. He's speaking to us from Tanzania. Rahab, wanisikia? Rajab, waweza nisikia?
Nakusikia.
Hivi na swali Rajab, manake naelewa kuwa bunge la Tanzania limejadili swala hili. Nieleze kwa kifupi tu mjadala huo ulikuwa vipi?
Ni mjadala ambao umezua maswali mengi katika bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania na hata ya leo taarifa hiyo imekuwa ikisambaa sana katika mitandao ya kijamii kama vile unaposambaa moto wa nyika. Na leo hii katika bunge la Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania lililopo mjini Dodoma, Waziri Mkuu Kassim Majaliwa amelitolea ufafanuzi swala hili ambapo wamelijadili kwa kina chake, na vile vile Waziri Mkuu ametaja kwamba serikali yake italifanyia kazi swala jambo hilo, na kisha serikali itakuja na majibu ya kina kabisa. Lakini cha msingi sana alichokitoa juu ya Watanzania, kwa sababu ni taarifa ambayo imepandisha ghadhabu kwa Watanzania wengi, ni kwamba Watanzania wawe watulivu wakati huu ambao serikali inashughulikia jambo hilo. Na ikumbuke tu kwamba Tanzania pamoja na Kenya zikiwa ni nchi za wanachama wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, vile vile ni majirani wema, na vile vile ni watu ambao wanafanya biashara, na kuna mwingiliano mkubwa sana kwa sababu ya kushare mpaka mkubwa kati ya Tanzania na Kenya.
Hivi Rajab, naeleze tuchukue wabunge tuwaweke kando. Wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania wanahisi vipi juu ya matamshi hayo ya Jaguar?
Wafanyabiashara wa Tanzania ambao wengi wanafanya biashara katika nchi ya Kenya wameonyesha kustajabishwa na vile vile kughadhabishwa na vile vile kuchanganyikiwa, kwa sababu sehemu ambapo wanajipatia mkate wao watafukuzwa, na vile vile sehemu ambayo wanaiamini kama ni sehemu ya mtangamano inakuwa sio mtangamano tena. Na wakikumbuka kauli ya rais wa Kenya Uhuru Kenyatta alipotaja kwamba milango ya Kenya imefunguliwa kwa ajili ya wana wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki kufanya biashara, kununua, kukaa na hata kuzaliana, kujenga familia nchini Kenya. Sasa swala hili jipya sasa limewashtua Watanzania ambao wanafanya biashara nchini Kenya na wana hofu, ila serikali sasa imeweza kuwatia moyo kwamba wawe na subira pindi ambapo jambo hili linashughulikiwa kwa kina.
Raja, maana matamshi hayo yanakera moyo. Ulivyosema, Wakenya na Watanzania wanatangamana vizuri tena sana. Tumekuwa jirani ambao wanafanya biashara pamoja, na maoni hayo ya mbunge huyo ni kama kwamba yatasisitiza au yataharibu uhusiano kati ya nchi hizi mbele, na sio Tanzania pekee. Manake mbunge huyu alitaja Uganda, akataja Tanzania, Uchina, Pakistani. Kwa hivyo shida hapa ni huo utengamano.
Kwa kweli ni kauli ambayo inaubomoa mtangamano wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki, na pia inaleta uhasama kwa nchi ambazo ni marafiki wa Kenya kama walivyotaja watu wa Uchina. Kwa hiyo ni kauli ambayo ilipaswa itajwe kwa ustadi wa hali ya juu ili kupunguza hii jazba ambayo inaonekana kwa wakati huu. Ila nikizungumza kama mwanahabari nikitokea katika taifa la Tanzania, naweza nikasema kwamba kauli hii inazua mjadala na vile vile inamong'onyoa kabisa mtangamano wa Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki endapo haitatolewa ufafanuzi.
Haya, Tuongoja huu ufafanuzi. Rajab Hassan kutoka Tanzania, twashukuru kwa kuungana nasi katika kipindi cha The Big Story. We've been speaking to Rajab Hassan, our reporter in Tanzania, just getting the sentiments of Tanzanians on the ground on the sentiments of the Starehe Member of Parliament Njagua. He says the Tanzanian Parliament is asking for answers on those utterances by the Member of Parliament, but then they've also asked Tanzanians to be patient as they try to resolve this. Let's take a break here on The Big Story, but when we come back, we will be speaking to Professor Gitile Naituli, who's an ex-commissioner of NCIC, and Japhet Ogutu as well, who's Executive Director, Consumer Downtown. Stay with us.